So in this video we'll take a look at types of wool and just simplify that down for you a little bit. So first of all, down in the description I will timestamp everything so you can just skip to what you want to listen to, just to make that easier for you. So the first thing we'll look at is a fleece. So just as it sounds, the fleece is shorn off a sheep, and you can buy fleeces and then do with them as you wish, because there's a lot you can do with them. They come to you usually unwashed. They're quite greasy, they're quite smelly, and they're tangled, so they haven't been carded, and carded is the process by which you're smoothing out the wool and combing out the fibres, and we'll go into that more on the other things. So I bought a fleece. This is another one of my eBay purchases. I shouldn't be allowed on eBay, honestly. And this is, I wrote it down, a white Leicester long wool fleece. It's the first fleece that I bought. Doesn't actually smell too bad at all. I think it was quite a clean sheep. But the reason I went for this one is that it's quite curly. So I love the curls. I use curls for pumpkins a lot. They're fantastic, but you can see it's quite matted. So it's going to take some work to kind of untangle those. The plan is to kind of card some but keep some curls, and we'll do videos on those anyway. So I bought that fleece so we can work on that later. But when people are talking about a fleece, they're talking about an actual fleece. So locks and curls. So as you've just seen with the fleece, I bought a fleece that's specifically very curly because I wanted those curls for my projects. You can have a couple of other methods to get curls. So another eBay purchase. So for my pumpkins I bought some curls, and this is what you get. So as you can see, they've been dyed. I got some green ones, and you can just separate those curls out and add those onto the top of pumpkins, or whatever. You can use it for hair, or you know, if you're doing fairies and make lovely curly hair. So they're beautiful. I'm a little bit curl obsessed. So that's one colour, and I also bought some pink, and there's loads in this bag, and they're not massively expensive. The downside to buying, like going onto eBay or whatever and buying curls, is that you end up with a lot of curls in one colour. So there is another way around that. So I will do a video to it. I make my own curls, so they turn out, just look down here. So these are from my standard wools that I have. So I make my own curls for pumpkins, and I'm going to do a separate video on that because it is so crazy easy. And that way you can just look at the wool stash you've got and think, yeah, that colour, take the tiniest little piece off, and you can make those so easily, and they look absolutely fantastic on your pumpkins. So that's the two ways with curls. Your carded bats would be the next thing that you may hear. So bats are, you take your fleece and it's processed, it's washed, it's and essentially carding is combing. So again, it'll be a video that I'll do because I want to show you how to kind of blend colours and things. So carding, this is on a small scale for me because I make toys, but you know, you can get these whatever size. So you've got your carding brushes, and carding is essentially combing the wool. So you're dragging those fibres, combing them, and producing fibres that are running all in the same direction essentially. So a carded bat is, after that first stage of carding, it's a flat piece of wool, and people will use that. It can be dyed, it can be left for natural colour. That's quite often used for a core wool. Now when we say core wool, that is the basis of everything that you're going to felt. So coloured wool is more expensive when it's been dyed and processed and, you know, made to be beautifully soft, etc. So we use a core, and then when you've got your basic shapes, so say when we do a pumpkin, you'll get your round shape, slightly round, kind of slightly flattened on the top. You'll get that shape, and then you'll add your colour on the top. So essentially it's to save you money too, but it also forms the base for a piece, and the core, the fibres are running kind of not so neatly, So essentially it's almost like a Velcro effect when you put your colour on the top. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about a bat. I'd recommend, as I've said before, just buying toy filling, acrylic toy filling. It's what I use. I get massive bags for next to nothing. I do have to pick out some of the curls at times, but again, I save those curls, I dye them, and I use them for other projects. So if I was making a pumpkin, this stuff's so 10 a penny as well. You're not upset if you do stuff up and you need to chuck it. So there, I've got that size for a pumpkin, and you just felt into there. That's your core. Then I would get my colour, and then once that's felted into shape, then you put your colour on and you felt that in and you're covering it. So that is bats and core. Carded sliver, that is from the bat. So you have your flat piece of bat, and it's a rope-like piece. So let me show you a sliver. So this is one of mine. So when you unravel it, it looks like a rope. Got a piece of black in there. Okay, now you have more fibres in this piece running in one direction than you do the bat. Okay, so these are good for armature cover, and we'll deal with armature on another video. But armature is essentially the wire I use for some of my pieces, not for a pumpkin, not for the simple things we'll start with, but so when I do a figurine, I'll do a body, arms and legs of wire. So this is really good to pull, thin that out, and then wrap around. Say that's your wire, you wrap it around and then felt it in. So this is great for that. So a sliver's really good for covering your armature, really excellent. So tops are similar to slivers, but they've been combed out further, so more of all of the fibres are now running in one direction. So what that makes for is a really, really smooth wool. This is a merino, absolutely gorgeous. They sometimes mix these with like a nylon or a silk, and essentially mixing them is just carding in as well, and I'll show you how to do that so you can get variations of colour. You can also get, you know, bits of sparkles to put in there, and they're beautiful. So these are everything I use. I essentially use core, and I use these usually because you can get them in so many colours too. Now because I do toys, I buy really small amounts, so I get just bags and bags of these with all different colours in, and they're absolutely fantastic, really smooth, really beautiful, really easy to blend. So that's your tops. So it's kind of self-explanatory if you think about it. So don't worry about your bat. So you have a core, so that's your innards, your core, and then you have your top it off. And then only if you're, you know, then starting to get into armature and things like that, then you'll start to think about slivers and other forms. But right now, the most important thing is that you have your core and you have your tops. So a quick word on roving lastly. I don't have any roving, so I have nothing to show you. Roving is essentially just thinner than tops, has a slight twist in it, so you can spin it, knit it, whatever. And in the US, apparently, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, apparently that word is used interchangeably with tops. But as I don't have anything to do with roving, I've never used it. It's, you know, that is what it is. But I think a lot of people use that interchangeably here too. And the very last thing I wanted to show you, just to give you an idea when I talk about the curls, making your own curls versus buying some dyed fleece curls, or buying your own fleece and making curls. Just an example of how you can use them. So when I make pumpkins, you do your basic pumpkin with your little top there, and then I just use all the curls. These are more defined curls. These are curls I've made myself, and I'm going to show you how to do that because it's crazy easy. And these are the ones that I bought from eBay. So these are a bit more matted and twisted, but they just look kind of rustic, so I like those. So there's the curls, and these pumpkins look great just kind of sat on a shelf with the curls draping down. But we'll do a video on that definitely. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.